Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it is officially April 8th, the day that Wizards said about 2 weeks ago was the final day of the spoilers, which explains why we have 163 out of the 274 cards spoiled. So don't even ask, I don't know what the hell's going on, and evidently neither does Wizards. But we got some spoilers today, so let's start with Keensight Mentor. And yes, that lemur can, in fact, see what you're thinking right now. So it's a 1/4 for 3 human cleric, and when it enters the battlefield, put a vigilance counter on target non-human creature you control. Then if you pay 2 and tap this creature, not the one that you put the counter on, you can put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with vigilance. That could spiral out of control really quickly, and I think this would be truly insane outside of standard, but we'll see when it gets released. Odd that they made this not a rare. It seems pretty powerful. And if anybody knows why it looks like there's a burn mark on the bottom of like all these cards, I'd love to hear it. What the hell? Next up, Sanctuary Smasher. It's a 6-cost 6/4 with first strike Rhino Beast with cycling 3, which is a little bit above normal, and they included red in the cycling cost. And when you cycle Sanctuary Smasher, put a first strike counter on target creature you control. So once again, you got options. It's just useful. You can put it in your deck without worrying about it being in your opening hand necessarily. Next up, the unfortunately named Bushmeat Poacher. Wow. It's like a time traveler. Went back in time, got a job at Wizards of the Coast, and then started naming cards the most offensive things they could possibly come up with involving COVID-19. I mean, I thought Space Godzilla Death Corona was pretty bad, but after Bushmeat Poacher, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like Airborne Pestilence and, I don't know, maybe a creature called Infected Pangolin. That would almost be impressive at that point if they managed to name cards that bad in that quantity. Anyway, this thing's a 2/4 for 4. It has pay 1, tap it, sacrifice another creature, and you gain life equal to that creature's toughness, then draw a card, which is really the redundancy with Witch's Oven that nobody asked for and nobody wanted. Is it time to ban Witch's Oven yet? Because actually, that's a trick question. It was months ago. Next up, we've got Zenith Flair. It's a 4-cost instant, and it deals X damage to any target, and you gain X life, where X is the number of cards with a cycling ability in your graveyard. So this sounds nice, but I've got to say, I mean, you're not going to play self-mill in white-red. That's not a thing, so you'd have to add a color if that's what you're going for. And honestly, building the whole deck around this card, really? I wouldn't. I mean, it's any target, but still, it's not that good. But this doesn't really work with cycling, at least in low quantities, where it's like, oh, this costs 6, I don't need it in my opening hand, cycle it. Or, oh, this is really weak and it's turn 20, I don't need this 2-cost piece of crap, cycle it. You know, that's really what it's built for. So why would you have, oh, this does literally nothing until like turn probably 5? I mean, realistically, even then it would ping you for 1, oh boy, and it costs 4. I mean, 2 really good reasons you would never want to see this in your opening hand. So why would you do a opening hand sensitive, cost sensitive, timing sensitive card in a deck that's optimized to not have to wait for anything because it has cycling? The answer to that question is clearly they do not want people to play cycling as cycling, like the way it was intended. They want you to play an all cycling deck where you just dump mana into cycling, just fill up the graveyard, get a bunch of triggers, and just go. Which is just a stupid slap in the face to how cycling actually works. So next up, we got Jagantha the Wellspring. It's a 5/5 for 5 with 4 generic and 1 hybrid. Okay, it's a legendary creature, Elemental Elk, because we needed more elementals in the game with Rising Reef, and it has Companion. Oh, by in the game, I meant not in the game. Pardon me. So no card in your starting deck can have more than one of the same mana symbol in its mana cost. That's the way it's written in every other language, so I'm just going to say they got the English wording wrong. That sentence is an assessment, not a statement of necessity. I am never going to get over that. Anyway, it has add 1 of every mana cost by tapping it. This mana can't be spent to pay generic mana costs. So some of that's going to fizzle. This would be kind of funny in Commander, I guess. I don't think it would be the Commander, but, you know, good luck getting your entire deck to qualify for this to play it as Companion, so I'd say just throw it in. I also still completely stand by the fact that the other 9 should be banned from Commander just on principle, because it makes your deck effectively have more than 99 cards. So this is just weird. I really don't think anybody's going to play this in Standard. I don't know. It would be easier to pull off, but you could never repeat. It would basically be Singleton. So in Singleton, it would be wonderful, but yeah, this is just... it's weird. Why'd they even bother? This is just so strange. Next up, we got a card that might say Dusk Mentor. It's a 3-cost black creature human monk. And when Dusk Mentor enters the battlefield, put a lifelink counter on target non-human creature you control. So kind of cool, but it is non-human. And then if you pay 2 black, oh, this looks familiar, tap it, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with lifelink. Great. So we're doing a whole cycle of these is what you're saying. Oh, that's wonderful. I just love effects that constantly put 1/1 counters on every single creature you own. That's awesome. It's actually just a coincidence that Steel Overseer before the reprint was like $60. So next up, if you thought it couldn't get worse, you clearly do not know Wizards of the Coast. We've got Emergent Ultimatum. Yeah, they're printing ultimatums again. So this ridiculous waste of a rare slot is 2 blue, 3 green, and 2 black. In case you didn't notice, my brain cannot look at a mana symbol and name the color. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of disability. Anyway, it's a 3-color sorcery that says search your library for up to 3 monocolored cards, which if you're playing 3-color, I mean, it's not impossible, but like, why? And they have to have different names and then you exile them. Then an opponent chooses one of those cards, shuffle that card in your library, but then the other up to 2 you may cast without paying their mana costs. You must also pay any other additional costs stated on the card, FYI. And then exile Emergent Ultimatum, which is the classic phrase that indicates they knew this was overpowered and exploitable and loopable and clonable as hell. Well, it's still clonable, so they made sure it was removed from game after you cast it once, because if you did this twice, what the hell? So barely realistically castable while also being overpowered and broken as hell and encouraging Glass Cannon's stupid combo all-in gimmick decks that win one way over and over and over. Like I said, what an idiotic waste of a rare slot. Oh look, there's more! Double green, triple black, double white. I had to write that one down because, like I said, my brain doesn't work. So it's a sorcery, return any number of permanent cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now this one is just like, hi, I'm broken as shit. Let's not play a 3-card shell game and have my opponent pick one and then get up and do the hokey pokey and switch chairs and do a lap around the parking lot, whatever the hell that last card said. This is just like, hi, I'm going to cast a bunch of broken Eldrazi shit. Nice to meet you. If anybody pulls this off, I am going to pick up my chair and throw it at them. At least it doesn't say can't be countered. Next up, we have a similar card, but not from the same ultimatum cycle. It's Song of Creation. It's a 3-cost +1 that's an enchantment. It says you may play an additional land on each of your turns, which I've outlined why that's a pretty much worthless ability in most cases, unless you have something else to do with it, because you just never have 2 lands in your hand past like turn 4. And then whenever you cast a spell, draw 2 cards. Okay, that's insane. And then at the beginning of your end step, discard your entire hand. Okay. So you might think, okay, ridiculously overpowered upside, but also horrifically like game-ending, mill yourself out, one shot and you're done downside. What will be like the end power level and playability of this card? Well, I will tell you there have been cards very similar to this in the history of the game, if not literally this card is a reprint, I don't know. And they were played. I mean, people play them. They were in some pretty high profile decks. So even though it's 3 color and it costs 4, I mean, nobody's really playing those 3 colors too much right now. But I would say somebody would probably try to do it. And I mean, if it's just, I'm going to kill you with this one, ticking time bomb thing, maybe every time you draw a card, take damage, whatever. Some little whatever, there's enough of that. I play stuff like that. Most of them are in black, unfortunately. The rest are in white, actually, pretty much, so good luck with that. But, I'm just going to stall out, mill myself out, and win with Jace, or I'm just going to Planeswalker alt you into Oblivion, and then the rest of your entire deck is like board wipes and draw. Yeah. You could play this, and it's not like it's impossible to add 1 or 2 colors to a deck that runs this, so, yeah, this is just going to be annoying. Just completely and utterly annoying. Nobody's going to run this in anything other than a control deck. Like, that's clear as day, right? Seriously, screw this card. Next up, we've got Sonorous Howlbonder. It's a 2/2 for 3, and it has Menace, and each creature you control with Menace can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, aka Mega Menace. This set is a Mega Menace. So at that point, let's just call everything unblockable because it pretty much is. Nobody has enough creatures on the board to block, and if they do, they'll probably just let it through and counter swing for the win. So this makes all of your creatures basically unblockable if you built a menace deck. It's, once again, a really central themed dumb gimmick with a very narrow pool, but you know somebody's gonna build it. The funny thing is, I just don't see with the amount of control and board wipes and stuff, this being a popular deck, and this is still 4 out of 60. You'd still have to actually draw this, so you'd almost have to have more support like Trample has right now in the set, so I don't know how realistic this is, but I don't like the card. It's too hard to play around. And then at the same time, it's not even good because somebody could just blow this guy away with literally anything. So if you're playing a menace deck, and then you add him to it, you're still absolutely screwed if somebody casts a board wipe. So you still got a glaring weakness. It's just not a good deck and not a good card. Especially when at the same time you have to swing harder than they can counter swing or you're going to lose. And also in that case, you would have had to have gone first. And drawn him. I mean, there's some problems here. Next up, another stupid freaking mentor card. So this one's a 3-cost human warrior. When it enters the battlefield, put a menace counter, and there it is, on target non-human creature you own. And then if you pay 3, tap it, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with menace. That's annoying. And finally, we have Narset of the Ancient Way. I don't know how this was leaked. I think it was in some art maybe, or a reference in another card's, I don't know, flavor text or something. But yeah, Narset is the 3rd planeswalker in the set, and there's only going to be 3. We knew quite a while ago that one was a reprint, one was Vivian, and one was brand new. Well, not literally reprint. I mean, it's just her again. It's not literally the same card. But yeah, Narset, yay. So 4 for 4, which is right where you want to be for cost and loyalty for a fair and balanced planeswalker, although I haven't read her abilities yet. Jeskai colors, because I think she's literally a member of Jeskai. And +1, you gain 2 life, and then add 1 of those 3 colors of mana. Spend the mana only to cast a non-creature spell. Oh, that's just not asking for sheer and utter degeneracy. I'm sure nobody will mix black and play 4-color shutdown decks with this. -2, draw a card, then you may discard a card. May. I've got an idea, don't. But when you discard a non-land card this way, Narset the Ancient Way, of the Ancient Way, whatever, deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to target creature or planeswalker. That's kind of neat. I mean, I'll be honest, that's not terrible. And if you do it twice in a row, she dies, so that seems fair. And then -6, which she's not too far from when she comes out, you get an emblem with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this emblem deals 2 damage to any target. Okay, we're sick of that crap. That's just what, like some Is It Guild bullshit? I don't remember the last couple times we've seen that effect, but it is crazy annoying. So just sit there and wipe the board and counterspell everything and kill everything. That's Narset. What a bitch. Oh, but Wizards, I'm so glad you made a character that's on the autism spectrum. I feel so represented. Thanks. This makes me feel all better. That people are going to sit there and not let me play my fucking deck. This is what happens when they take a proper stack of priorities when it comes to card design and character design and just throw them right out the window. So next up, we've got Kahira the Orphan Guard, which is apparently all one word. I don't think it is, but okay. Legendary creature, cat, beast, because you can just never have enough cats. That is an absolute scientifically provable fact. It's a 3/2 for 3 hybrid, and it has companion. Oh god, I could have just read that first and just skipped this card. Each creature card in your starting deck must be a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card. That's not that hard to pull off, probably. Vigilance and all other creature... okay, I read that wrong. Thought it was a typo. Each other creature you control, that's a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast. So basically, if you're playing this as companion, every creature in your deck gets +1/+1 and has vigilance. Honestly, probably not worth it, especially since, I mean, yeah, this is an automatic card in your hand at all times, basically, but you're allowed to have 1. I think you can have the other 3 in your deck because it itself qualifies itself, which not all of them do. But then all they have to do is blow it away, and then, well, now you're back to a shitty gimmick deck, so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe those 5 tribals work together perfectly, and I just... I'm too lazy to look it up, but I don't know. I think this card's totally DOA. Next up, we've got a German card that clearly says Drenithischer Heiler. Who's he heiling? Them Germans, they gotta be careful who they're heiling at. I'm just saying. Even though apparently that translates to healer, by the way. So not hail, heal. Are they spelled the same way, or am I just remembering this wrong? Anyway, it's a 2-cost 2/2, and it's a human cleric, and when you recycle a card, you gain 1 life, and it has cycling 1. kind of weak. I mean, it'd be perfect for an all-in, I'm going to use cycling as a mechanic deck, but you guys already know what I think of that. Next up we have, oh, that is just adorable, Farfinder, and also the fox is cute too. Now this is a 1/1 for 3, so we are just absolutely jumping out of the plane and high altitude, low open stealth parachuting into Value Town. It also has Vigilance. I mean, that was a thing that was mentioned somewhere in this video as a thing. And then when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. I always said, if it's going to do something with land fetching or ramping, whatever, it damn well better cost 2 or less. I feel like it's a little late, but if you wanted to ramp and also run the Vigilance as a mechanic deck, then I guess put this in. Otherwise, really don't do that. Next up, it's another Ultimatum card. Oh boy, double black, triple white, double red. Yes, I had to write it down. It's a sorcery and you destroy all non-land permanents your opponents control. An asymmetric board wipe. We have not seen a true, reliable asymmetric board wipe since In Garruk's Wake, which I believe was M14, maybe M13. No, probably M14. You know what? It might have even been later than that. Oh, it was legal with Cryptghast, yeah, so that would have had to have been M14. I played that. Cryptghast to double my mana, tutors to go get the cards, and 1 Rise of the Dark Realms, and 1 In Garruk's Wake. That is how I rolled. The deck was terrible. I usually won 2 out of 5 rounds with it. Oh, but it had Crypt Incursion. Oh, I love that shit, and Sanguine Bond. Anyway, yeah, this is a disgrace. This card never should have been printed. I hate it. Anybody who plays this should be ashamed of themselves. Whoever designed this should either quit or be fired. If they thought that we don't have the level of fixing that could pull this off, then they are drastically mistaken. Just assume that somewhere between turn 5 and 10, all your shit's getting blown up and you're gonna lose to anybody who just decides to be a dick and run this bullshit. Next up, ooh, it's clear what Wizard of the Coast uses for a browser, because this don't look like Chrome. It's Zirda the Dawnbreaker, the Elemental Fox. It's a Firefox, in case you're stupid. So 3/3 for 3 hybrid, cool, legendary creature, companion. Oh god, it's a companion. Why do I keep hyping these up before I read the damn card? It's companion. Boycott it. Anyway, each permanent card in your starting deck must have an activated ability. And then abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. Ooh, you can do some damage with that. Especially with this being 3 and an automatic, basically, Commander Zone card. Then this effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. Okay, because free you could probably just do an infinite combo with, about 1,000 cards. Then if you pay 1 and tap it, which means that this qualifies to put itself in the deck, 3 more copies of it, I should say. Target creature can't block this turn. Ooh. If those are creature removal abilities, which then we're kind of going outside of standard, that ability makes this super badass. This is one of the few ones where I could see this reasonably being a commander deck. And I believe mana rocks would count because they are an activated ability. It doesn't say non-mana up top, and then it just doesn't reduce the cost of mana abilities, but they can be there. So yeah, I think this is going to be problematic. I mean, my goal is to have every single companion card either banned or not playable in any format because they're so obscure, weird, and stupid and a waste of time. This one walks pretty far away from that. I think you could reasonably pull this off, and I'm not happy about it. Neither is anybody from the sound of it. Next up, Offspring's Revenge. Oh my gosh, if I'm following the storyline, which, spoiler alert, I'm not. If that's one of those adorable cats that was in the story for a while, then they killed it and that's its offspring, I'm gonna be pissed, but, for all I know, that could be the one that survived. I have no idea. So anyway, Shorty here, it somehow costs 5. That seems like a lot for a little tiny creature, but also it's not a creature, it's an enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile target red, white, or black creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 1/1. It gains haste until your next turn. Do they know that there's already a black card that basically does this? So you could just start replicating shit over and over and over and over and over, and ETB and death triggers, hello, still go off. A splash red Afterlife deck with this card in it would be unstoppable. You would just, every time they blink, you would you lose 5 life from these 5 triggers. You get ETB pings, you get card draw pings, you get swing pings, you get death pings, and then now it's ETB again, and now here's a clone of it, and here's another copy of it, oh, here's another one. Oh, that deck would be so annoying. At least this is 3 color, which is not Afterlife right now, and it costs 5, which is kind of a lot, but still, this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. Next up, we've got quite possibly the funniest art we've seen so far, Almighty Brushwag, which those other animals are making facial expressions that feel are a little bit too human. It's a little bit cartoonish, but okay. I mean, nobody's taking this set seriously, so I might as well. It's a 1/1 for 1 creature Brushwag, and it has trample. Okay, and then if you pay 4, it does get +3/+3 till end of turn. I freaking love this, even though trample as a mechanic is going to be complete AIDS mixed with cancer, mixed with COVID-19. I still just, I like this card. It's just too silly. You can't not love the Brushwag. It's illegal. Next up, we have Necropanther. Now that you can dislike. It's a 3-cost 3/3 cat nightmare with mutate 4, so probably nobody's going to play it. And whenever this creature mutates, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Pretty powerful effect, but if a mutate creature enters battlefield any way other than casting it, it cannot be, like, it can't use mutate. It just drops in. So in an all-mutate deck, it wouldn't completely not help, but you would only have targets at that point instead of mutate triggers and enablers or doers or whatever. Mutate is stupid. Ignore the whole damn thing and just play around it. Next up, my Spanish brother's got at least a couple cards. It's de unamente. I actually don't know what that means. Okay, sad that I had to look it up. It means of one mind. I guess, yeah, mente, mental. Okay. I'm just used to it meaning, well, like the suffix form of it. Anyway, it's a 3-cost Conjuro, aka sorcery, and it costs 2 less to cast if you control a human creature and a non-human creature, and then just straight up draw 2 cards. So it's just more support for that stupid half humans, half beasts deck that literally nobody's going to build. With all I've seen, I just can't imagine that deck being good. Even if it looks hyper powerful with the synergy, you won't consistently get it going. Trust me, I ran what I call a 1/3 deck, okay? It was 1/3 land, 1/3 boost spells, or at least targeted spells, and 1/3 heroic creatures back in the day. I never got it to work, I would say, half the games. It was either too many lands and too many spells, or too many lands and too many creatures, or too many creatures and spells and not enough lands. It was never a perfect mix of all three. And if you think about, doing the math just in your head, yeah, why would it be? So in theory, half humans, half beasts, half lands will not work any better. Maybe drawing 2 cards for 1 mana will help. I don't know. I don't even know how many colors that deck would be at this point. My guess is 5. I know humans are white, black mostly, and I've seen red, and then now this is blue, so good luck with your Skittles, humans, and beast working together friendship is magic deck, because it ain't gonna happen. Next up, I see what you did there with Fire Prophecy. It's a 2-cost instant. It deals 3 damage to target creature. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. Okay. If you do, draw a card. That's random. I assume they're going to say just discard a card and then draw a card, but that would help feed Izzet too much, which Izzet is back. We're going to have Izzet plus Izzet 2.0 from this one, and yeah, that Izzet Drake's deck was already toxic cancer enough when it was popular. Well, here it comes back. And they kind of added more support for Storm too, so that'll be fun. Next up, Skycat Sovereign, because the more cats the better. It's a 1/1 for 2, and of course it's a blue-white flyer. What else would it be? Elemental, great. And it gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with flying. In other words, the entire rest of the deck. And if you pay 4, you can create a, 1/1 white cat bird creature token with flying. Oh, that's nice. With all the other flying lord cards, this is just going to get unbelievably annoying. Next up, Flame Spill. How do you spill flames? I don't know. Somebody did it. They're going to be in trouble. It's a 3-cost instant. It deals 4 damage to target little kid running away from it. And excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Hey, Spell Trample! We've only seen that like once ever. And honestly, I think it was in an unset. I mean, if it wasn't red and it wasn't in like Control Burn, I'd be like, yeah, cool. But because it is... I like the idea of Spell Trample, I just don't like it being in red. Oh, and that's the last card. Yay! Those spoilers took forever. A lot of them today, and I guess theoretically there will be some tomorrow, so hey, maybe, I don't know, whatever. They're obviously not sticking to a schedule unless I just remembered it wrong, which I distinctly remember April 8th, but who knows. Too lazy to check, got better things to do. In fact, I gotta go take all kinds of more meds. I feel like crap today. I don't know if it's allergies, that's what I suspect, but I got up out of bed today and was so dizzy that I fell right back over, and I swear my bones must be made out of titanium because I should have broken some ribs. I fell right on like the equivalent of like a pointed 2x4, like a blunt pointed 2x4. and I'm about 205 pounds. Anyway, my head's still swimming and I still gotta edit this bullshit, so I'm out, bitches.